What brings you to the conference today?
Lots of things, really. My PhD research is in transport. My background's in transport, many decades in that now. And as we're sort of emerging from the coronavirus and the pandemic, it's interesting to see how everybody's getting so busy, excited about international trade, and seeing how all this might relate to what I'm researching too.
So what are you actually researching from an ECU perspective?
I'm actually looking at how we currently use technology that we've got on transport that we currently have. So in and out of our vehicles that we use every day, how we're using that and how that might link to sustainable transport.
All right, can you elaborate a little bit further in terms of how that might impact that, or how might generate an export industry, or how that might lure international students to come up here at WA and study that area?
Sure, yeah. So obviously it's no secret now, we're looking at things like carbon credits. We're getting more pressure in the whole logistics and supply chain for cleaning up the act, basically. So this really links into that. So we've got to go back to the basics. We've got to look at what we currently do and how that might improve transport of the future. So by looking at sustainability, we can improve those carbon credits for the international trade, and it's attracting recognition on a not just a national level, but that international level, you know. So it's a global effort to try and clean this transport business up and improve the sustainability of transport as a whole. It's a whole package.
So when you talk about transport, we're talking about heavy haulage, freight, rideshare, perhaps?
Everything. Yep, everything, top to bottom. So my part of the research, obviously it's large, but my section of the research is looking at that current interaction with the technology that we've got in all of those types of vehicles, because as we approach this sort of zenith point of the technology that's coming into new vehicles, possibly connected and autonomous vehicles in the future, we need to know how this technology plays out and how we interact with it, because if we just deploy technology because of its engineering capacity, it doesn't guarantee the solution that we might be looking for. So we need to know how we interact with it, how we'll engage it, how we might embrace it or not. And that gives us a better idea to develop policy and planning going forward.
Sounds like that there's a focus from ECU on that whole ESG concept, talking with what you're saying. Is that really vital and pivotal in this current climate?
Not so much. It's coming from a much higher level than that. It's coming from the United Nations, really. So this factors into the Sustainable Development Goals. So the SDGs really focus on transport quite heavily. Without going through the whole history of it, basically the United Nations were running several reports. The first one for transport globally came out 2017. So that was our line in the sand moment. And what was realised running up to that report coming out was that no sustainability is possible without transport being sustainable first, because we have to transport everything to and from. The goods, the supply chain, the logistics are all impacted by the level of sustainability transport does or doesn't offer. So it's really coming from a much higher level, and it's just a case of gaining momentum, really, as we're sort of emerging from the last 2 years, and just seeing how we can really get our teeth into what we currently do and see how we can use that to make better decisions going forward, really.
All right, last one from me, Alex. So I'm hearing it's not just about EVs, electric vehicles, it's beyond that.
Yeah, definitely beyond that. So we have to start what we currently have, because there's all sorts of fancy technology and capabilities, but we need to know really the engagement level. Well, you know, it's great making the best product, but if people don't want to engage with it, it won't get implemented. So it's really looking at the human aspect and how we interact with technology. That's the key there.
Alex, thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you.